to go into the last presentation. Uh, so this will be a film lab by Palestine, and so this is by Hanna, and so thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you a lot. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for Children Meet Cinema for inviting me to showing our work and share with you what we are doing. I am really grateful for the opportunity to share with you our work and to discuss it with you and with my colleagues in the after the panel. That yeah, when we talk about Palestine and children, of course, this is part of political work we do, especially when we are talking about narrative, which is part of our resilience, and it's part of our fighting, and it's part of how much we need our narrative to reach everywhere, and we need our narrative to stay alive. So we will talk about the film education, and which is part of our activity in Filmlab Palestine. But I would like to give you a little bit who we are. Filmlab Palestine is a Palestinian organization. We are filmmakers, producers, cultural managers, designers, social activity activists, political activists. So our main vision when we established Filmlab Palestine from 2014 was to boost the Palestinian film industry and viewership in Palestine. We work with emerged filmmaker talents. We work with professionals in different kind of films, short films, documentary, feature films. And we are really focused on film education and more in visual memory and our collective memory, and how much it's important to collect the collective memory and to visualize it. So we conduct workshop. We giving equipment, provide equipment for young filmmakers, part of helping the infrastructure, and we empowering people to share their own stories. And this is, as you see from the beginning, which is our slogan, it's time to tell our own stories, and then we can explain why this slogan came. And we want really to produce and to create stories that create a positive impact on not only, of course, on society, but even impact in general and impact about Palestine and for Palestine. So Filmlab Palestine focus on 5 elements. I will not go in details on it because just I will call it, we have a hub for filmmaker, we have a program for talents, we have our film festival which called Palestine Cinema Days, and we support production, but the same important why we are here to talk more and more about the elements, which is cinema culture. And cinema culture, part of our cinema culture, we have the program which called Next Generation Program. And here where film education come. And before we call it, or even till now we are thinking if you want to call it a film education or a film literacy, because education coming from like you educate, so you have the authority, and we, part of our philosophy that we don't want really to in a way to educate, but we want to give the knowledge. And I think when we work with kids, it's really important that if we treat them as in a school where most of the kids, they don't want to go because we don't have a real that great educational system where the knowledge giving by spoon for people, or we want really to work on a film literacy, and film literacy coming from the place that in Palestine from 80s, the Israeli occupation shut down all cinema theaters. So we don't have cinema theaters in Palestine. So most of people, they are sitting in front of TV. So they receive the image, the knowledge from the broadcasters. And as we know, the different, all of us, I'm sure we know the difference between what's mean TV in a consuming image or the cinema where we collect our memories and culture and narrative. So, films, it's like a powerful educational tool that open up eyes for culture, similarity and diversity, easily viewed and understandable regardless age or level of education. So when we begin thinking like, okay, we want to work with kids, and from where this philosophy came or where this method came, so we really have two important people that influence us or give us more inspiration. So one of them, the thinker, the British thinker John Berger, because the heart of our work is to drive, to tell our stories and liberate our narrative, and this is really important for us. We are inspired by John Berger, especially with his book, The Ways of Seeing. John Berger influenced us, and Berger idea that media and the world of images shape our imagination and understanding of reality resonated deeply. The power of image to shape our perspective, and in turn, how we are positioned in the world, is something we take very serious. So, and this, when we put the book of Berger and we become really think about it and how we want to build our program. So the issue is that how must we need to be engaged to critical with the media and visual culture. This is especially for us as a Palestinian narrative, which is too often shaped by others. So our narrative, it's like, or it's the stereotype, it's put on us for a lot of reasons, and one of them the political reasons. So most of the stereotype images which is put on us, it's like if we are victims or if we are heroes, or now we become human animals. So this is part of all when we analyze or when we put the program for kids and youth, we really think about all of this. So our visual memory and culture, we shape not only the narrative we tell about ourselves, but also how we are perceived by the world. So, and this is, as I said, so as I said before, how much the collective memory shared visual, how we influence from the image, and our kids, how from where they receive their image, and shaping a national or a group narrative. The second, yeah, I would call it collective visual memory part of it, but we talked about it, which is why we work with this and how important. And the third, like the Fanon, what's Fanon said about when you want to create a program. So Fanon critiqued the colonial mindset and warns against simply all the system in Europe, and we don't want really to take like European model and we just bring it and we do it in Palestine. So we want to create our own way. We want to throw the seed and let's see this grow up, and we'll see how we'll grow up. So we today can do everything so long as we do not imitate Europe, so long as we are not obsessed with catching up with Europe. So this is, again, part of how much we want to liberate us and how much we want to liberate our kids and our narrative. So the first experience we have when we work in Palestinian refugee camp in Jordan. We're called Talbiya Refugee Camp, and there we give a workshop for the participants to give them the knowledge to tell their own stories. Again, to help them to break their stereotype as refugee, or as I said before, if they are victim or if they are heroes. And after this experience, we thought that this program, we need to continue it more and more, and it should be more in all historical Palestine, and even now we are thinking to go out with this program regional. So how we built our program. So as I said, we have the program in first that to work on film literacy, and this comes from the history that we don't have cinemas, we don't have film screen for kids, and we did a study to see what's our kids seeing and from where they receive images, and we found that most of them sitting front of TV, front of channels, that these channels, they have their agenda. If there are really coming from commercial side and only they screen like Hollywood films, or it's coming from more conservative places. And each channel, they want to lead our kids to their way. So the idea was, and when we did our study, and this study helped us a lot to build our curriculum, that how we want to help these young people and children to see things in a critique way and to open the lights on them. As I said before, we are not giving only one way, or we not really educate in the way of the terminology of education, but we open a different lights for them and they can pick up. And so we work with them by trying. So all the time we try things, and if it's work, we continue. If it's not work, we try another way. So, and even to give them more and more liberty to choose in which way they want to tell their own stories, or in which way they want to really continue of producing. Yeah. So what's the issue when we talk about children and film media education in Palestine? Yeah, we don't. When Palestine, it's a country under occupation, so a lot of things, or a lot of lack of things. One of them, media program, which is designed specially for young people. We don't have a real production for kids, so we don't have films for kids in Palestine, even in the region. So most of the time we screen films from outside. And our filmmakers, it's not really focused to produce films for kids. So because that, it's really hard for us when we want to screen films to kids and children, that most of the time we brought film from outside. Of course, we dub it to our language, to Arabic. We put subtitle, even sign language, to reach more kids. But in the same time, all this, it will be really, it's like out from their culture. It's not something coming from the local. It's not their place. It's not their culture. Due to occupation, of course, there is a lack of strategies. So, and like the government and this put more and more hard work on us to really cover the gap and to create stuff more and more for the kids. So when we put all of that, we establish, as I mentioned before, the program which called Next Generation Program, which is part of the 5 elements I said, which is and coming under a cinema culture. So our program, we screen film. We have like 2 target group, the small target group from 6-year-old till 11, and from 11 till 15. For the smaller group, we screen film to them, and then we open a dialogue. And this is really important for us. So we train trainers how to open dialogue with the kids, and how to read the film in a critique way, or how to see it in a different way. And this is part of open the mind of the children and the youth to see things in a critique way, especially to be outside from any authority, from mosque authority, church authority, family authority, school authority, so that this is really to make them more free in a way of thinking. We give the second target group, which is from 11 to 15. We screen films, but in the same time, we give them the knowledge how they can produce or how they can make short films. And here, the most important, to tell their own stories, and we begin develop. So they throw a lot of ideas, and we begin develop with them this ideas through their point of view, not of us. So our rule is to coordinate the discussion. Our rule is to make things going smoothly, but they have the full freedom. And we give them like just examples. Or if you think like this, what about that this way, or what about that way? So, and here we can go with them more and more in development, the idea to develop their script or to develop their idea. We are working, or we reach our participants or students. We built a lot of partnership with community centers, with the club in villages, in refugee camps, even in the cities, where we go there and we screen films. We go there and we make the workshops. During the workshops, we really kind of checking for talents, and we pick up that talents who really we feel that they can go more and more for intensive workshop, and then we take them to audiovisual camp, where we work with them more in like small film school, when they go to more in camera editing, sound, and script writing. In the same time, we give them tool about what's mixing mean, the soundtrack, editing. If we change the scene, how we read it, what you see, what's the difference, and we give them all this knowledge and we give them all this information. So when they go to produce their stories, so all this they all this information, they know it, so this helps them to know which shot they want, or which editing, or which scene before what, etc., etc., etc. So always we have this kind of equation. And when we work with them, we teach them as old school, like from the 35 millimeter time, that you are not allowed to open the camera till you are really sure what you want, and then we go to the storyboard, etc., etc., all the elements for the producing the films. So we managed to produce around 460 short film. This kids produce in 42 workshop. We screen 300 film screening in different areas. Again, to help the kids, or to work more and more in film literacy, we establish cine clubs in different places. So in Jericho, and in Gaza, in Khan Yunis, and in Rafah. And we developed with the specialized, and here the Danish Film Institute Kids Department support us to develop the curriculum for media literacy. We educate trainers, that these trainers, they can go and they open the dialogue, and they can facilitate the workshop. To keep kids and children front of real films, and that they have the access for films, we create a platform called Waqtuna. Waqtuna, it's Arabic name, which mean our time, because most of the time when we only can see one TV channel, most of the time parents telling their kids it's not your time, so that they don't see the program which is not allowed they see. So, and we create now the platform which is our time, which is Waqtuna, and it's a safe. There is we buy copyrights of films, and we put it there, from documentary, short, feature film. We have like kids, Charlie Chaplin films for kids there. There is like a lot of viewers we have. I think now we have around 100-something thousand viewers on it. Yeah, and this is the platform which Waqtuna. Yeah, and Waqtuna, it's a free platform, so kids, they can see it everywhere, and it's help even the parents, because we have a lot of question from parents, like where we can find a safe or real good content that we can our kids can see, and this help them a lot, because most of parents now, especially now with the social media and now with the technology, they put their kids front of the TV, or they give them the iPad or iPhone, whatever. So they don't have a real library that they can put their kids there, and they can watch in a safe way. And even in the Waqtuna, we really respect the kids' rights, that it's open from 7 a.m. and closed in 8 p.m. So any kid after 8 want to watch film, not working, sleeping, so that they can go. Yeah, so we create like interactive games. When we go to screen films, we give the kids and the youth the interactive game, that they can understand more the films. We have called mashup table. I don't know if you know mashup table, where the kids can play on it. Editing, soundtrack design, mixing, and all of that. So even this, they make them more and more close to the creativity side of making the films. We create books, and there is like some question about the film, and they can draw, they can cut, they can do some activity to be more and more with understanding the film. Yeah, we, as I said, because we really don't have, even not in Palestine, in regional, the content for kids. We try now to take our platform more in regional. So, as I explained before, with all this philosophy behind why we work with kids in different way, and we share a lot with my colleagues. We share a lot of how we conduct our workshop, and how we give them the kids the knowledge in a way that they need to really be free to tell. They need to dream. They need to tell their own stories. They need to tell something that what they like, what they love, what they hate, etc., to make them really to give them this free. So tell what happened, or the genocide war now in Gaza in 7 October. They put all our program and all our thoughts like under question mark. So in the same time that we are working with kids and youth, there is thousands of our kids killing every day, and part of these kids are our students, and our students, even our teachers who's work with these kids, and these kids who's telling their stories. So now we are really rethink how we want to continue this kind of project. So as I said from the beginning, to work in Palestine, you cannot separate politics, the situation of our program. So because that, most of the time we experiment. So we try a way, and if it's work, we continue. If not, we find another way. So now we begin thinking that we want to work with traumatized kids, and kids from coming, or they want to tell their stories during their experience in war. So we begin working with kids in Gaza. We screen films there, and with traumas, we call it like this, yeah. Kids, and here our work, it's become more and more difficult. Like, which kind of dialogue you want to open, or which kind of stories they want to tell, and how you want to develop their ideas, and etc. So yeah, so as I said, this is, they put our program on a real big question mark. We have like 8 years experience, and now it's like we want to begin from zero. We want to begin from, put again the questions on the table, and to analyze it, and to see how we want to continue. So yeah, so we try to now find different collaboration. We try to check our activity. We want to try to make better outreach. So now all our program in Filmlab, not only in Next Generation, as I said, it's like really a change. So we are more focused to work in Gaza. We do screening there for kids in the displacement camps, We work with kids that they manage to be part of them. They manage to be outside of Gaza, so they brought them to Bethlehem. So we work with them, and we try to support them that they can tell and how much they can tell. And as I said, we are really try to put the program regional. So thank you.
Okay, so I'm producer, curator at CMC. My name is Aiko Musabuchi, and I know we have really good interpreters today, but I'd like to, speak in English during this session.
So I'm going to speak in English so we can have a bit of a conversation. First of all, Hannah, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I think maybe just to say something about where I'm coming from. I'm not an expert in any way around Palestine, but I am a film worker, and I believe that I have learned so much from film and cinema. I think the words such as human dignity, empathy, or like just care and love for each other, those are things that were brought up in other presentations, but those are the things that I've found in cinema. And so to me, it's horrific to think that we live in a world where a genocide can happen in this way, and we can watch a genocide happen like this, despite all the things that we have learned from cinema. But at the same time, realizing that there is so much still to be learned. I think in a conversation that, it was a few questions were sent to you over email, and you were talking about how in this time you do question what you can do in the position you are in during this time as you work with cinema, but that also in your work you've also found the reasons to continue going. I was just wondering if it's a big question, but wondering if there were particular moments when you were saying that you were compelled to say those words, I guess.
Yeah, it's a big question. No, of course, now after what's going on and after the genocide, and it's happened on live, so it's not like 60s or 48 that people tell the story from one to one, and we need to document the story so that to let other see it. So now what's going on, it's live, and the genocide is still going on, and war, it's moving for the whole region. And as I said, like, of course, now there is a big question what we are doing, and what we can do, which kind of stories we want to tell. And stories and narrative, it's really, for me now, the most important. If the narrative come from professional filmmakers or even from children, because narrative, it's a part of resilience. The narrative, it's part to keep you alive, and it's narrative, it's part of your exist, because we are facing a really huge distortion on our image, on our and we put on a stereotype image. Even as I mentioned, even if we are victim, terrorist, heroes, but in the end we are a human being. We have our own life. Our kids, they have their own dreams. They looking for a good or better future, and part of our resistance that we like life. and we want to continue living, and we fight for a better life and for our kids to see better life. So, and all of this, how you want to put it in a cinema, or how cinema they want to present this. So we think, me and Filmlab and friends and most of us, that now maybe our role is to tell the stories and to show the stories. Yeah, so this is how I think.
Thank you. And speaking of which, you yourself are also outside of Filmlab, or part of Filmlab. You are also a filmmaker and a producer yourself. And there are films that you've produced now that are screening around the festivals right now.
Yeah. To be only a filmmaker in Palestine, you cannot live from it, because we don't have the film industry. So beside that, yeah, I'm doing different stuff. So part of it I'm producing, and I produced 2 films, one short film called Upshot, and premiered in Locarno, gets the best short, and feature film called Thank You for Banking With Us. It was premiered in London, and now just before yesterday, last week, premiered in the Arab world in Egypt, in Guna Film Festival.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I hope we can get to see it here in Japan as well.
I hope so.
Maybe before I open it up to the audience, I'm sure the audience has a lot of questions as well. I felt a little bit, perhaps the mashup table is actually not something that's quite well known here. Can you tell us a little bit about what that actually entails, and maybe sort of the spaces that this happens in?
I know, but maybe you call it something different than mashup table. I don't know, because I think it's a French terminology, the mashup table. But yeah, it's a table, and you have the cards of films. So when you put the card on the table, the image become on the screen like moving image. So when you have different scenes from the film, so you can put it while you put it the scene on the screen. So this is give you the opportunity to change the cards. So which is like here we can see the sequence that telling the story, or even you can create the story. You let the kids like create a story. You awake in the morning, what you did, and then to reach here. So they put the screens and the scenes, and then there is cards with sound effect. There is cards with the music. There is cards with how to call it, the cutting ways, cut or fade out, fade in, dissolve, etc., etc. So you give them this like game that they can play, but in the same time they have the knowledge about soundtrack design, effects, editing, building the sequence, building scene, etc., etc. So I'm sure, but it's called something else. It's all over, right? Mashup table, yeah. So.
Yeah, and those are you do in community center spaces?
Yeah, we did all our how to call it, equipment like that we can move with, because it's not easy in Palestine that kids can move from city to city, because we are really living in separate cities, because all around cities there is like a checkpoints, and there is roads even we are not allowed to drive on. So it's easy that we have like open air cinema. We carry it and we go to villages, we go to refugee camp, we go to other cities and we screen film, and then we invite the kids through our partnership with community centers, kids centers, etc., clubs. And the same with the mashup table. You can put it like, in 2 bags, and then you can travel with it to different areas, and you put it there and you work. So, and this, even when, plus for the situation, in this kind of way that we go to the kids. We felt from our experience that this is something really different than just you reach kids through schools or you go to the school, because in the end, the school atmosphere, they kept the kids under this kind of authority. And our work to make them more and more free and this liberty of thinking and to express and to tell. It's not most of the time they are look to the teacher. We answer right if we are okay, because school, family have really the authority on the kids, on their way of thinking and reacting and all of that.
Thank you. Perhaps I'll open it up to questions in the audience.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm going to ask, yes, in English as well. I was just wondering when you were speaking about narrative as resilience, narrative as a way of survival, and I think that's particularly very, very important for Palestinian storytellers and filmmakers now, especially as we see the ongoing genocide unfold. And we as viewers from the international community, we have been seeing that unfold real time on our phones for over a year now. And I'm coming from a position as someone who has been screening Palestinian films since last year to Japanese audience, followed by discussions, so that we get to see Palestine through the eyes of the Palestinian filmmakers themselves and meet Palestinian people beyond the images that have perpetuated in the media, which has been so one-sided, unfortunately also in this country. To humanize, I guess that's the word that gets used a lot. So my question is really about viewership and responsibility as viewers, not just as filmmakers and narrative makers. Like, well, how can we look at our position as audience and our responsibility as someone who's receiving these narratives that are coming from Palestine, that are coming with such sincerity, with such effort? The people put so much effort into telling their stories to us, yet how are we receiving it? Are we receiving it with care, with generosity, with the responsibility that are really, really required of us? Any thoughts on that? Any ideas?
Not really, but for me, I would like that you see the Palestinian film as films, as a story coming from a human being, not as supporter, not as pro-Palestinian, not as someone who really want to have how to call it, supporter. So because the story, what we share, all of us stories, and even like me the same, when I see like a film from Japan, if the story really touch me, if it's coming from real place that we share all together, it make me move, and it make me telling others that story, and tell my kids and the kids around me that I saw film, and this is the story of this family, this couple, these kids, etc., etc. Because most of the Palestinian film telling like a human stories, because this is how we live, and this is who we are, and this is what we want. Of course, there is war all the time. We're living in the war, but in the same time, we have friends, we hang out, we love, we hate, we married, we divorce. so it's not only just even that image as heroes. Not all of us fighters, not all of us on a front line, maybe all of us fighters, but in different ways, I mean. So yeah, if you have a chance to see Palestinian film, and you can invite your friends and you can tell others, especially young people, especially kids, because this is how I believe a lot now, because that our program Next Generation, when we call it Next Generation, because there is the hope of this generation who's coming, who have more knowledge, who have more really knowledge, and this knowledge coming from the ground, from the true story, not because from the media and TV and all this TV agenda, and each TV take us to different direction. I hope I answered your question.
Well, I feel like, I think this is something we were talking about earlier, but I feel like when we hear a lot of information, it takes us all time to sort of gather our thoughts. So maybe I'll ask another question. But so you mentioned this sort of lack of a film industry within Palestine, but I also realized there is a very rich history of Palestinian films that come before us as well. I'm curious about sort of the how you work with these generations that come before us, and then because we've been talking about next generations, but also, how are you thinking about carrying through narratives that have come before as well?
No, we are in the country that it's really rich with the stories. It's once I have a meeting with the head of the Danish Film Institute, and he told me that we have the craft, that we are really have the craft how to make films and the possibility and the money, but you have the stories. So a country rich of stories that a lot of films should be more and more out from there, but because we don't have film industry and infrastructure, so all this effort from filmmakers, it's become like from individual effort. So they carry their script and they run all around for 5, 6, 7 years till they produce, and most of the time we co-produce with different country, the region or Europe. And in the end, these film they run in the best festivals. So every 2 years you will find a Palestinian film run in Cannes or Berlin or Venice. So there is the quality, there is the knowledge how to use the cinema language, and there is the story itself. And as a country living from ages under war, so people really more and more they want to learn more and they want to see more. So because that when there is like a Palestinian film out, that a lot of people and audience they want to enter to see it, even if they are support or they are not support. So yeah, so it's more individual effort more than system. And maybe this is better, by the way. It's not. Sometimes when you have a system, things become destroyed. Yeah.
No, completely. I think, actually then it kind of makes me want to ask the question of what a film industry might look like, or what kind of film industry you might be building towards when you say that term, I guess.
No, we as Filmlab we try to as I told you we give capacity building workshops. We try to have like a little bit infrastructure, equipment, color grading, sound, etc. That to support young filmmakers to tell their stories. We have program that because as I mentioned we don't have content for kids. We have a program that we work with professional filmmakers to create content for kids, so we can support them with our facilities. So in a way it's like group working, in a way it's like collective work that all of us we believe that this is the tool, as I said, it's a part of the resistance, and this is the tool that we want to continue and tell more and more our narrative, and to keep it and to tell and to produce and to let people knowing us more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hana-san, Motobuchi-san, thank you very much.